Good morning and welcome to the biggest event of the year in our eyes is the 30 Crossing ribbon cutting. I'm Lori Tudor. Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! I'm Lori Tudor, the director of the Arkansas Department of Transportation, and before I get started, how about that Little Rock Southwest High School band? Weren't they great? They really set the tone to help us start this celebration. And I would also like to thank the William J. Clinton Presidential Library and Museum to allow us to have this great venue right here and to make this celebration really special and be able to see the 30 Crossing work while we celebrate. And thank you to the Lord for giving us this beautiful weather so that it's not raining or snowing or anything like that. Because I asked Parker, I said, what's plan B if we have bad weather? He had nothing. So he said, I am going in with all full confidence that we're going to have a good day. And he was right. So we're excited to be here today. And with Christmas just around the corner, I must say that the completion of 30 Crossing project is the best Christmas present a director, a commission, or anyone, the people driving through it could ever have. So thank you for all the work that was done. There's so many people that worked to make this project a success. But our design build team of Kiewit Massman, they knocked it out of the park. They did such a phenomenal job building this in record time, and I'm going to rename them. They're no longer going to be Kiewit Massman, but Santa Claus. I came up with that myself. So, instead of having your little emblem icon, it's good, let's work on that, okay. So before we get started, I want to introduce a few folks. We've got our entire Arkansas State Highway Commission with us here today. It's just great when we get them all together. They're very busy business folks, so for them to stop and make it to the event, we just really appreciate it, and they understood how important today was. We have our chairman, Alec Farmer from Jonesboro. Woo! We have our vice chairman, Philip Taldo from Springdale. We have Commissioner Keith Gibson from Fort Smith. And we have Commissioner Marie Holder from Little Rock. She's going to be a speaker later. And then from Texarkana, we have David Haig, and we're so glad he's here today. And we've got a big list of dignitaries, and there's so many people here. I can't recognize everyone. I would miss someone, but our dignitaries that came to and agreed to speak with us this morning are Patrick Schick, Vice President and CEO of Lexicon Construction and Fabrication. We have Vivian Wong from the Arkansas Division, Federal Highway Administration, our Arkansas Division. She's here today. Dr. Dean Campuris, Little Rock City Board of Directors, at-large position 8. Mayor of North Little Rock, Terry Hartwick. Mayor of Little Rock, Frank Scott Jr. And I'm sorry if there's another senator here today, but I'm saying it, my favorite senator, Arkansas State Senator Linda Chesterfield. Okay, so the journey to get to today's celebration has been truly amazing. And it's been a textbook example of teamwork, collaboration, and perseverance. And the department could not have possibly done this without anything of this magnitude alone. It takes funding, support, and advocacy, and we receive that so amply, not only from the citizens of Arkansas and our elected officials and our congressional delegation, but also to our partners at FHWA, Federal Highway Administration. It's just been incredible how we've all come together to get to this day. And believe me, there was a lot of hills to climb, there were a lot of obstacles, there were a lot of challenges, but we persevered and we made it to today. And I am so proud of the team and the people that came together to make today a reality. You just don't go out and say, you know what, I think I'll replace a bridge over a major river bridge in the middle of a dense urban area and widen the interstate. That's just not done with a lot of coordination, a lot of planning, a lot of everything you can think of. It takes years to get to the point till you first break ground. You have to look at benefit cost. What is it going to cost and what are the benefits it's going to bring? All those things have to come together. And in case you were wondering why we call it 30 Crossing, so this is something that Kiewit, Massman, and I know for sure Kiewit, they like to name their projects, and they don't like to use the job number because it's so boring and no one knows what you're talking about. So they name their projects, and this one got named 30 Crossing, and it's just perfect because all it simply means is that the major part of this project was the bridge that crossed over the Arkansas River and connected Little Rock and North Little Rock. And there has been studies that go back as far as 2003, and it's just been studied and thought about for years. This is while developing the model for the 30 Crossing project, it was estimated that the traffic count in 2020, back in the earlier days, before we got started, it was estimated 120,000 vehicles a day go over this part of the interstate on I-30, and 143,000 are estimated to go across that bridge in 2045. So it's the busiest route in the state of Arkansas. And a huge component of this project, as we were getting to the point of building it, was explaining it to the public. Understandably, there was a lot of questions, and there were some that were not sure about the project. In fact, they opposed the project, and a lot of people were concerned about the project. So we held so many numerous public involvement meetings dating back all the way to 2012. And there was just so much collaboration and work together with everyone in this area to make sure everyone was comfortable with the project. And that's how the success of 30 Crossing was achieved, with just everybody coming together. But there's one group I need to mention that was very involved in the planning stages that really helped to explain the project and get buy-in from the public in this area and from the stakeholders in this area. And that was Studio Maine, a volunteer-based nonprofit in the city of Little Rock who works with architects, contractors, designers, and interior designers to create a better community through design. And for the 30 Crossing project, Studio Maine worked within the local community, helping to ensure the community members had the opportunity to express their concerns and priorities while meeting the purpose and needs of the project. We all listened, and we tried to make this project belong to the people that would be using it. And that is what has ensured the success of the project and why we're here today. The results are magnificent. I know as I drive through it and you drive through it, you must feel the same way. The completed reconstruction and improvement of one of Arkansas's most traveled roads. And on top of that, this was RDOT's first try, or first time we used the design build project delivery method. Garver engineers joined the project when it was first planned and helped us to establish the framework for RDOT's design build program. And going forward, Garver also operated essentially as an extension of our staff to help oversee construction. One of the benefits of using design build methods is you can expedite the project significantly. You can have a final design on one piece of the project, build that piece, and still be designing other aspects of the project. So you really expedite the design and the building part of the project, thus design build. Today, after 4 years, this 30 Crossing project is listed as, listen to this word, this is a very important words in the world of transportation, substantially complete. That's a big deal. Substantially complete. Anytime someone comes up to me and says, that project's substantially complete, it is like the best words that are ever uttered at the department. And of course, none of this would be possible without our design build team of Kiewit Massman Construction, who were selected in March 2019 to deliver the project and were awarded the $540 million contract. They did such a phenomenal job, and we learned so much from them along the way. We couldn't have asked for a better design build team. There are so many other partners from the design side and the construction side. Many of you are here today, and we thank you all. But last but not least, I would like to recognize RDOT staff that helped shepherd this project through and was the liaison between RDOT and all the partners, and that's Kelly Wiley, Mark Trickey, Scott Eldridge, and I think I've been told Ben Browning's here today, and he got this whole thing started. Ben, thank you for your hard work. My hands are cold and I can't turn my pages. Okay, now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Arkansas Highway Commissioner Marie Holder. Marie Holder is completing her 5th year as an Arkansas State Highway Commissioner. She enjoys public service and has also represented the state on the Arkansas Women's Commission, the Arkansas State Medical Board, and the Arkansas Governor's Mansion Association. When I started my tenure as director, she started her tenure as highway commissioner, filling out the term of Tom Schick, and then being reappointed as a commissioner for her own 10-year term. We have been together from the beginning of my journey as director, and I can tell you, she is a tremendous asset to the commission and to me and to the state of Arkansas. Please welcome Marie Holder.
Thank you, Lori. I'm so happy to be with all of you today to celebrate this historic occasion. In many ways, 30 Crossing is a landmark project. It has been a project of first, innovation, and scope. It was the first design-build project conducted by RDOT. It's the delivery method that we heard about earlier from Director Tudor. After developing the design-build process for 30 Crossing, RDOT now has an effective and efficient framework to use for other projects when a design-build delivery method is appropriate. I know that sounds boring, but I can't overstate that enough. That is an amazing process that we now have in our toolbox for some of these larger projects that are going to be able to make that happen for the future. It's amazing. 30 Crossing is the largest construction project that RDOT has ever undertaken. To understand what that means, it helps to look at the details of the corridor and the project's components. The project includes the convergence of several interstates and a U.S. highway, including 30, 530, 440, 630, 40, 430, and U.S. Highway 67, which is now Interstate 57. It also crosses the Arkansas River and 2 Union Pacific Railroad yards. As part of the project, the river bridge was replaced, interstate was widened, improvements to interchanges were made, and ramps were modified. RDOT and its contractors reconstructed the existing 6-lane highway, 3 in each direction roadway, reconfigured and demolished the Highway 10 interchange, widened and improved the Arkansas River Bridge, and enhanced connectivity in the downtown area. The project also created almost 16 acres of green space between Cumberland and Malin Martin streets, which improves connectivity and continuity between the east and west sides of Interstate 30. The scale of this project is incredible. 93,000 cubic yards of concrete, 22,000 tons of structural steel, 9,000 tons of reinforcing steel, 164,000 tons of asphalt, and 513,000 cubic yards of embankment went into this project. I'm going to do that again because it's amazing. 93,000 cubic yards of concrete, 22,000 tons of structural steel, 9,000 tons of reinforcing steel, 164,000 tons of asphalt, and 513,000 cubic yards of embankment went into this project. That's amazing, right? At a final estimated cost of $634 million, 30 Crossing is also by far the most expensive project that RDOT has completed to date. The project was funded by a mix of RDOT's federal aid funds and state funds. The contract for construction of the project was awarded to Kiewit-Massman Construction in January of 2019. This project was a huge undertaking in so many ways, yet here we are today, a little over 4 years after the start of the project, and we are here to celebrate its completion 6 months early. On behalf of the Arkansas State Highway Commission, my fellow commissioners and I want to thank everyone involved in this outstanding project. Millions of people will benefit from the great work that has been accomplished. Thank you so much. Arkansas Highway Commissioners serve 10-year terms, but we never see the completion of every single project we plan and begin. I have been honored to support the completion of many of the projects that were begun by my predecessor, the late Chairman Tom Schick. His son Patrick has joined us for several ribbon cuttings over the past few years, but this one is by far the biggest and the most important. Tom worked to bring together our community partners in support of this project. Like his father, Patrick is a community and corporate leader. Patrick has spearheaded Lexicon's growth into Arkansas's largest construction company with nearly 2,000 employees across the U.S. He is a board member of Arkansas Children's Hospital, as well as the American Institute of Steel Construction and the Little Rock Regional Chamber's 50 for the Future. Patrick, thank you for joining us today.
Got to move the mic up a little bit. We always complain about the weather in Arkansas. We always want it cold until it's cold, right? Very quickly, if Dad was alive today, I think he'd have a lot of words. And probably some he couldn't say up here on this mic. But I think when you look out amongst this crowd and you understand the community involvement that it took to undertake this project, and what it took from the standpoint of people in Little Rock coming together with people in North Little Rock, what it took for the highway department to work with city officials on both sides of the river, what it took for the state to come in, what it took for Mayor Stowe. We had 2 different mayors working on the project. We went through COVID. All the things that we had to overcome to be able to make this project. It went off without a hitch. So as a constructor, as a fabricator, as an erector, I'm a construction guy. And I drove across that bridge time and time again. And I would say jealousy and envy was in my vocabulary. So I would like to point out Grady Harville, AFCO Steel. Y'all did a phenomenal job. Kiewit-Massman, great job. We've been a part of some really big river crossings over the years, and ours did not go near that smooth, I can tell you. So again, thank you to everybody involved. If my dad was alive today, I think the word that he would use is well done. So thank you to everybody here.
There's a height differential, and I don't know. Anyway, our next speaker is Vivian Wong, Arkansas Division Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration. In March 2020, Vivian began her tenure as administrator at the same time I began as director. We have worked together to solve many problems, and I'm honored not only to call her an esteemed colleague and peer, but also a good friend. She began her FHWA career in 2008 and has served in the Colorado, New Mexico, and California division offices as well as in the Office of the Administrator at the FHWA headquarters in Washington, D.C. Prior to joining FHWA, Vivian worked in the private sector as a roadway and drainage design engineer. Vivian holds a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Florida and is a licensed professional engineer in the state of Florida. Please welcome Vivian Wong.
I like following Lori because I don't have to adjust the mic. I'd like to say thank you to RDOT and the Commission for having us here today for the 30 crossing ribbon cutting. It's really an honor to be here. This project was a tremendous undertaking from the start to finish. It was the first major project in the state, which is any project that's over $500 million. It's also the first project to use design-build contracting here in Arkansas. Two very big things that require a lot of federal involvement and truly a lot of trust and collaboration to work through all of that red tape. This project has been in development for a long time. We had a planning and environmental linkage study in 2014, and then a reevaluation of the environmental assessment in 2020. It also goes back, as the director mentioned, even further back than that. There's a lot of hard work just to get us to construction. A big shout out to Randall Looney of FHWA and John Harding of RDOT to get us through all of that environmental process. When I came to Arkansas in early 2020, this was the first project my office got me up to speed on. They knew how much of a priority it was to RDOT, the Commission, and also the region and the state. It's also the corridor that would become my commute from home to work, so I was definitely invested in making sure it succeeded. I cannot think of a better example of partnership, collaboration, and teamwork than the FHWA, RDOT, Kiewit-Massman team that came through in every way possible. I want to thank the partnering team that included Director Tudor, Kelly Wiley of RDOT, Brent Dather of FHWA, Shane Peterson, Blake Goodrum, Kevin Swaving, and Cass Sobek of Kiewit Corporation, and Henry Massman, Thomas Massman, and Paul Shamer of Massman Construction Company. They are some of the best out there. The Kiewit-Massman Construction joint venture has been phenomenal. The professionalism and care of every single person working on this project to make it happen is unlike any other. You don't finish a project 6 months ahead of time without a lot of work, coordination, and cooperation, and above all, keeping worker and driver safety a priority. I'm very proud to be part of such an impactful and extraordinary project that will increase safety and improve mobility on this critical corridor. I commend RDOT and KMC for their work to get us here today and for a project that is the model on partnership and collaboration. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Dean Kapuris, who serves a Position 8 at large as Position 8 at large City Director. He was appointed to fill a vacancy on the City Board in January 1995, and he has since then been elected to 4-year terms all the way through 2024. From January 2011 until December 2012, Dr. Kapuris served as Vice Mayor of the City of Little Rock. Dr. Kapuris is a graduate of Little Rock High, Washington and Lee University, and Emory University Medical School. He is a gastroenterologist in practice in Little Rock. Revitalization of downtown Little Rock has been a major focus for Dr. Kapuris, and he has served on numerous boards and committees to make Little Rock a better place to live and work. He is a member of the St. Mark Episcopal Church. He and his wife Mary have 2 children. He's been a longtime supporter of the Boys and Girls Club in addition to being a vocal supporter of the city's prevention, intervention, and treatment programs. He is the founder of Arkansas Commitment. Please welcome Dr. Dean Kapuris.
Thank you, Lori. I can look at the people on this stage and I can understand why everybody's here except me, in all honesty. And my part in getting this done has been minuscule. But I do want to talk about 2 or 3 different groups that have helped bring this community together, as Laurie talked about. The first is Jerry Holder. I didn't know Jerry at all, and he had the unenviable job of having to come to the city board and convince the city board that this was a great project. And there was one person who was not very nice to Jerry that night, and that was me. And if Tom Schick was here, he could really describe what I was that night. So Jerry was calm and cool and collected. And after the meeting, he came up and said, "Can I take you to lunch?" And I said, "Sure. You know, free lunch is free lunch." And we talked, and I went from a person that was opposed to an advocate of this project. And we then went through a period of time where the most vocal opponents of this group, as Laurie talked about, were Studio Maine. And Studio Maine is made up of the most fun, energetic, idealistic young people. And they thought that this was absolutely the devil incarnate, putting this road in here. And Jerry and I and Jay Cheshire had a meeting with them one day at the chamber. And we said, "Look, this is going to happen. You want this to happen. You want this to look great, and we want to include you in the project." And so Jerry was able to convince them, along with Jay, that this was something they needed to do. And as Laurie said, they were a great contributor. As Laurie also alluded to, there were a number of community meetings, and I didn't go to all of them, but I went to the majority of them. And when you went to the community meetings, there were a group of people who really thought this was the worst thing that was ever going to happen to our city. And they wanted the bridge to come down to a boulevard. They wanted all sorts of things. You couldn't have put that number of cars through there if you started when we started and gotten through with it. And 2 people bore the brunt of their comments. The former director would make some remarks and leave, and then Kelly Wiley and Jerry would stand up and would do a remarkable job of maintaining their cool, talking to people, and being respectful of the fact that they were really caring about our city and how it developed. And they listened and they answered their questions. They never got mad. They were compassionate, understanding, and they're what helped convince a number of people in this community, because of their willingness to listen, that this was a worthy project. So they're the second group that's helped make this come about. The last group that Jay Cheshire told me I ought not tell all the secrets, so I won't tell all of them, but I will tell this. One day we were talking and the first set of plans came out, and the mantra was, "Don't worry about the bridge and the road because it's all in the right of way." Remember? And so Jay Cheshire got a bus and we all got on it. It was Jay and Buckley and the former commissioner, Frank Scott, and Haskell and Gary Smith and myself. And we drove down right over here and we marked out how big the bridge was going to be and how big the road was going to be. And it may have been in the right of way, but it was a hell of a lot bigger than it is now. And Jerry had the wisdom to go back with y'all and redesign it and make these Texas turns and all these different things that I've learned about come into reality so that it fits proportionally what's going on. They also listened to Studio Maine and everybody else, and they built the bridge high enough that you can look under it, and that 19 acres of green space will one day be the masterpiece of our city. So it's been a privilege to be a small part of this, but the people that have really made it, there's one other person that I need to mention. We got into this and everything started happening, and people started saying, how long is it going to take? Now, I've got a 4-year-old grandson, and he thinks the next 21 days an eternity till Christmas gets there. But can you imagine being a merchant over here and saying, it's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 years before we get this thing done, and your business is in question? So Jay got Millie Ward to come back, and she did pro bono a group of pictures of what this would look like, so we could start telling people there is a pot of gold at the end of this. It is going to be better, and reassure people that what we were doing and what y'all were doing wasn't crazy. So that's the other group that really helped on this. So as I said, I have no reason to be up here other than to say that I'm happy for what y'all have done, and thank you, and I think it's going to be a great addition to our community.
Our next speaker is Terry Hartwick, Mayor of the City of North Little Rock. Mayor Hartwick was elected mayor of North Little Rock in 1984, serving until 1989. And then in 2020, he was re-elected as mayor of North Little Rock for the second time. And
It's cold.
Thank
It's
you.
cold.
Thank you.
It's cold. I got to introduce somebody else up. Barry, our Pulaski County Judge. Barry's here today. Barry. And Frank told me I had a minute and a half because he went and got his jacket and his hat on, and I'm not going to take a minute and a half. Really, real fast, most people say, I can't believe it's time. It's about time, right? But can you believe if you lived in Hot Springs trying to go to work in North Little Rock? If you live in Jacksonville trying to get to work in Little Rock, what an undertaking, what an economic development the bridge is. I remember us talking about many years ago when you'd come see us. This is quite an undertaking. It is the best thing that's probably happened to Central Arkansas. How's that? Is that okay? Than it has in a long time. I talk to a lot of people that, like I say, live in Hot Springs and it actually works for me in North Little Rock and vice versa going the other way. So what this is accomplishing, bringing us all closer together to be one big family. Like it or not, Frank, one big family, right? And Barry, no, this is great. I cannot imagine what y'all have gone through to have the bridge never really ever shut down during times where you need to get across it. Where your mental health, where you're having to go to some place for a doctor's appointment, think of what y'all have accomplished in a short time, and yes, they say, ahead of time. So again, thank y'all for letting me be part of this. Lori, thank you, the highway commissioners. Thank you all very, very, very much. I do appreciate it. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Our next speaker is Frank Scott Jr., Mayor of the City of Little Rock.
It's cold.
Okay, he has got a stellar resume here, and I love everything about it. But what I will say is he was an ex-commissioner, and that's how I got to know him. He's a phenomenal guy. Everybody give it up for Frank Scott.
Thank you so much, Secretary Tudor. Today really does come with some mixed emotions. This completion represents many different seasons that have transitioned in our city. I shared with Patrick Schick, a dear friend. Many may know or may not know, his father was a dear friend of mine who gave me hell and I gave it right back. But he was someone that was authentic and a truth teller and he could take it just like he could give it. And I get a bit sentimental knowing where we come from. And that's my targeted message for today. I'm blessed to be the mayor of Arkansas State Capital City, but I'm also blessed as I see fellow commissioners here today and the RDOT family, and they truly were a family to me and still are. When I was appointed to the Highway Commission, I'm one of those that you go all in or you go home. And sometimes you catch the bumper on something, and I can tell you that 30 Crossing was the bumper for me. When we took on this opportunity, and as Director Computer shared, there were a lot of naysayers, and he talked through some of those. But as I looked to my immediate right, and I begged to know that the reason why State Senator Linda Chesterfield is here is because I'm going to be very truthful. There were a lot of black people in the city of Little Rock who did not trust RDOT, did not trust the city of Little Rock, did not trust the state of Arkansas, because if you are from here, you understand and know the Interstate 630 redlined our city and cemented disconnections. And I bowed to myself and I shared the same spirit with my other fellow commissioners that if we were going to take charge and move forward with this, that we had to make certain that we moved from being disconnected to connected, and make certain that 30 Crossing truly connected communities and did not divide them. And this has been done. This has been done. But I love to say that this $600+ million project just doesn't happen. It's not due to any kind of magic. It's due to a lot of people. The leadership of both Secretary Tudor and former Secretary Scott Bennett, all of the highway commissioners that played a role, former Mayor Stoller, the city directors of the Little Rock, Pulaski County Mayor, and the mayor of North Little Rock, mayors of North Little Rock. It took a total team effort and true collaboration to get this done. And this shows with Arkansas State Capital City and the Central Arkansas region that continues to lead the way in economic development, what we can do when North Little Rock, Sherwood, and Jacksonville, and everything in between and close to us work together can do. But not only is it about the connections and the collaboration, it's about the creativity. And what we see right now with the single point unit interchanges, the Texas turns, and all of the concrete that's now no longer in downtown Little Rock, we had the ability to be creative with this green space, and that will happen with true vision and implementation. And so to everyone here, one of the things as a former highway commissioner, you grow to understand that everything isn't always on time and on budget. But as I asked Jerry Holder, who he and I were in the trenches together, going to a lot of different meetings with State Senator Chesterfield, and really had some true sauce with some people and tough conversations. There's a reason, Senator Chesterfield, as you know, that John Walker didn't come out, because she and I and many others had a conversation. There's a reason why the NAACP didn't come out. It's because of those conversations, and I want to give a lot of honor to Jerry Holder, as Director Computer shared. He knows how to talk to people. And we're very grateful. And so today we crossed this finish line together. And so Secretary Tudor, as you know, you and I have both been in the trenches together as well, and that's why we have this great relationship. As we cross the finish line together on time and on budget, Jerry Holder and I want to give you a medal for your stewardship and your leadership.
Well, I was ready to get up here and say, hallelujah, preach on, brother. Now I just want to say, wow, thanks a lot. This was very unexpected. I'm very honored. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. So our next speaker is Linda Chesterfield, State Senator for District 12. She was elected in November 2010 to the Senate. And I'm sad to say this is your last rodeo for being in the Senate, but not your last rodeo. You still have a lot left to give. So we're excited to see about her next chapter. But she's a retired teacher, which I think, to me, her first career was being a teacher. Her second career was which is a huge public service. Her second career in public service was being a senator. I can't wait to see what she does next. But she taught for 30 years, get this, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. Everybody give it up for Senator Chesterfield, because that's a hard age. That's a hard age. And she's going to cut me short as well. I love her.
I love you. Good afternoon. It's just an honor to be here. Frank talked to you briefly about the conversations we've had over this period of time to get where we are today. I want to thank Lori Tudor. She's a trailblazer, and it is not easy being first. She's the first woman to be in charge of this division. And I met her during committee meeting, and the committee meetings were getting a little testy, because they wanted to give her a hard time about this and that, and I just don't cotton well to that, if you will. Those of you who know me know that I am not afraid to say what's on my mind, and to say it with the correct amount of force, hopefully, and if not, oh well. When I came to the Senate in 2010, and the session began in 2011, I became the chair of Transportation Technology and Legislative Affairs. And I cannot remember his name. He was the director before Scott. What was his name? Dan Flowers. Yeah, Dan Flowers. I know why I don't remember him well. He hadn't the most stellar personality in the world. And he and I had to meet because he wanted us to provide more funding for highways. And I am one of these persons who believes that that is very important. And just an aside, I was so delighted to see my friend and my classmate from Hendrix College being honored for the bridges that he helped to build in Buddy Valines. Buddy was a very special person to me. When you're the first African American to go to school, it's always nice to remember those who were kind to you when they didn't have to be, and Buddy was one of those persons. But when I came into this business of transportation technology and legislative affairs, we needed money. And my job was to get that money to you so that we could do what we're doing right now. And some of my Republican colleagues told me we can't vote for it, but we won't challenge the quorum. Because once the quorum is established, y'all know, it's in place until somebody challenges the quorum. Well, when they got challenged for being tax and spend, somehow they didn't remember that they had told me that. And so I got all this bad publicity in the press and how she was doing this without votes. And those of you who know anything about legislature, committees, quorums don't last very long. And when my friends got up and started talking crazy, I decided I'd have a very colorful conversation with them behind closed doors. And when we finished that very colorful conversation behind closed doors, they came back and voted the right way. And as a result, we were able to refer to the people a tax increase for transportation, and we got it. I am the only member of the Pulaski County delegation who represents both north and south of the river. And I was the only one in that delegation that really supported this 30 crossing, because representing people in the hinterlands is very critically important to me, because they needed to be able to get from point A to point B just like everybody else. I didn't hear any complaints as they continue to expand Highway 10. Didn't hear a bit of complaints about the expansion on 430, 440, all of this, only this one. And you know, those of you who know me know that I don't accept BS well. And it was my thinking that if you aren't going to talk about those, you need to leave this alone. You either are part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And so we had some very candid and colorful conversations in order to get this done. And I am one of those persons who often says, to God be the glory. Well, to God be the glory for the work that you have wrought in making 30 Crossing a reality. I'm just so very, very proud of it. I'm proud to have been a part of it. And as I exit this great stage of public service, know that I will continue to fight for what I think is right. This was right, it's on time, and it's for the good of the people. May God bless each and every one of you.
So the 30 Crossing project has done so much. And we can talk about it, and we've talked about it, and we talked about the collaboration and the hard work and everything that went into making this a day that we're celebrating. But one thing that I was just struck with, we didn't talk about, was leadership. And as I sat here and listened to all of the leaders talk about this project, I realized, and calling out those that provided such huge leadership, I am so proud to be part of the Arkansas Department of Transportation and part of this project, because it's just been a great experience and it shows what true leadership is all about. So with that, I would like to ask, I think we have representatives here from Massman and Kiewit and Garver are going to come up. We have a little token of our appreciation of guiding us through our first design build project. If y'all will come up to the stage. Jerry and Henry, Thomas, Kevin. Y'all come up. Y'all just all come up. Okay, so we just put together just a little token. It's just a proclamation of appreciation for the 30 Crossing Design Build project. It was the first one, and we had to learn a lot to make it go well, and they did a phenomenal job leading RDOT through that process. So with that, I'm going to give one to Garver, Kiewit, and Massman. Okay, welcome. All right, so thank you all again for coming out. That concludes all the talking, and now let's cut a ribbon. Thank you again.